Alicia Keys' 2012 hit song Girl on Fire was a declaration of her strength to overcome adversity and shine, and was a tribute to her marriage and motherhood as well as her commercial success. Considering her immense vocal and musical talent, and success as an artist and wife and mom, it certainly describes Alicia. Of course, we know the song's metaphorical. She's not literally on fire. Why can reasonable people recognize a metaphor, a figure of speech using something like fire to describe someone who is powerful and successful in normal everyday conversations and songs, but immediately seek to make similar Bible passages literal? For example, we're talking about Obadiah and the day of the Lord, verse 15. And in the text, he uses two metaphors to describe the coming day of judgment on the nations: drink and fire. Because just as you drank on my holy mountain, all the nations will drink continually. They will drink and swallow and become as if they never existed. Then the house of Jacob will be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame. Obadiah verses 16 and 18. Of course, they are metaphors for the overwhelming destruction that would come on the enemies of God's people. Initially on Edom and those who attacked Jerusalem during the days of King Jehoram in 850 BC, and then by extension on all nations of all times who attack God's people. Most admit these are figures of speech, though some go so far as to make them literal drinking and burnings. But almost all today turn the promise of the Lord's kingdom in verse 21 into a literal earthly kingdom. But is it? Well, no and yes. Obadiah picks up on the language of restoration of a remnant that began with Moses, Deuteronomy 30 verses 1 through 3, and was renewed by Solomon, 2 Chronicles 6 verses 36 through 39, which has a literal and figurative fulfillment. As the promise was explained by later prophets, it was extended to all nations, not just Israel, and fulfilled by Jesus when he died on a cross in Jerusalem, rose from the dead 3 days later, and ascended to his heavenly spiritual throne. With the preaching of the gospel in Acts 2, the king's reign was proclaimed, and the remnant of Israel and the world came to the king. They became citizens in his kingdom. Yes, they were living on earth, but they were under the rule and authority of a heavenly king, Jesus. Their citizenship was and is in heaven, just like every believer who comes to Jesus today. His word is the fire that believers continue to spread, bringing destruction on the kingdoms of this world through truth, not with a literal flame or an earthly kingdom. Are you on fire for King Jesus? Thank you for watching Morning Minutes in the Bible on An American Missionary. Until next time, this is James McClenny helping you have a great day.